Thanks to all of you out there for attending. I just want to make one comment. I'm here in Austin, Texas today, and although Austin's usually known as the live music capital of the world, it's also the molds, pollens, and allergy capital of the world. So almost all of us are suffering in some form from allergies. So if I sound a little scratchy, I apologize. So I wanted to talk this morning, today, about privacy. That's one of the things that we're very much concerned with. Whether you're in Europe, Asia, the Middle East, South America, or North America, there are different laws and different aspects of what you think is private. One of the concerns that I'm most aware of is the fact of the privacy in your own systems that you use. Probably everybody on this call has got a smartphone. Many of you have got iPads. Everybody's got a laptop or a desktop system. Many of you are using cloud computing. So you are using a lot of these tools. What I'm going to be want to look at very carefully with the privacy aspects is, okay, it's going to work, Jessica. We have a little technical issue here.
If you're on the full screen, I would just suggest exiting the and then you'll see arrows. Oh, there we go.
There we go. Great. Thank you. Yeah, I was not. So, okay, sorry about that. So with privacy, is there a guarantee of privacy on your devices? We'll talk about that and devices and applications today. We'll talk about what we mean by phoning home. We'll look at some of the aspects of we'll look at what your operating system's doing. It seems like my internet connection is also suffering from allergies today. We'll look at the operating system itself, what's going on there, and the idea of, can you stop it? Can you take control yourself and take back your privacy? And also, what are your options? What options do you have when you're looking at these different tools? So, is there a guarantee of privacy? Again, that pretty much depends. Privacy itself is the ability of any one of us or all of us as a group to seclude ourselves, make sure that we don't have information about ourselves escaping. We only want to express things selectively. Think about what you have on your smartphone. Think about what you have on your laptop. I know I live on my smartphone. I've got pictures of my grandchildren on my smartphone. I've got all this information about passwords. I've got everything about my life is sitting there on my smartphone. And we expect that there's privacy with that there's some amount of privacy. But it depends. And it depends on where you are. Here in the USA, we're largely considered free to be able to give consent to any use of our data by any means and in any circumstances. We're also finding that as the political environment changes, as laws change, as standards and practices change, that privacy ebbs and flows. You see that at some point in time, all your data is protected. At other points in time, maybe only things like health information is protected. So you have to be very aware of what is going on with your data. In the EU, an individual's consent can be challenged to establish and rely upon certain circumstances, which means that in the EU, you have your basic information is protected, and then sometimes you can't even release that. An example that we saw quite a bit several years ago was when Google was doing Google Earth and Google Streets, and they were going up and down the streets in Germany taking all these pictures, and they realized they had to go back and they had to blank out people's faces. They had to ensure privacy. They had to blank out what was in the windows of people's homes. So privacy really is a matter of where you are, and elsewhere in the world it really depends. You have to decide what is the circumstance, what are the privacy circumstances within your own environment. So, device privacy. Let's look at what you have for your devices. I'll use an example, iOS. And I use Apple as quite a bit of an example because I think that there's probably better privacy available in iOS devices. I've also been using Apple products since the Apple II, so I'm fairly familiar with them and what's there. Device privacy, though, even here on what we think of as one of the better platforms for privacy, it's buried 5 levels deep in the general section in either your iPad or your iPhone. So it's not obvious how you can work with your privacy settings. The other issues, when you start looking at it, it's the overall privacy statement is almost 67,000 words and almost 2,300 lines. I'm sure most of you out there have read your license agreements and know them inside and out. But for those of us who just click through and accept it, that's what's there, and it's very, it's a very formidable thing to read. Here's where the privacy is, so you can get that statement anytime you want. So what personal information does iOS, again, probably one of the better privacy policies that you've agreed to if you're using their device, what do they collect? Well, about you, you're getting your name, your mailing address, phone number, email address, contact preferences, and credit card information collected. If you've got an iTunes account, if you've got an account with Apple, all that gets collected. People you send gifts to, well, if you send gifts to your cousin or a friend, their name, mailing address, email address, phone number, those are all collected. Non-personal info is combined with personal information for analysis. I'll give you an example of that. If you decided that you wanted to look for a new pair of hiking boots online and you Googled hiking boots, you'll find that the next time you get onto Amazon, next time you're on something like Yelp, or you're just cruising the internet, you're going to see some sidebars popping up, advertisements from Carhartt about hiking boots. Why? Because that information was collected. It was non-personal, but it was collected along with your email address and a lot of your other information. Some non-person info that's collected without any specific consent, occupation, the language that you use, zip codes, area codes, unique device identifiers. You know, what did you call your iPhone? What did you call your Android phone? What do you call your iPad? You know, those are some unique identifiers. Along with that, there are some device codes that are in there that are sent. A URL, if you've been referred to someplace or you've clicked on a hot link in the Washington Post or the Manchester Guardian or the Times of wherever, that gets captured. Your location, you know, you've got a GPS. It's about everything's got a GPS in it. Turning off the GPS is almost more difficult than turning off your privacy. And the time zone, you know, where it was used. So that information is all there also.